When you come to a crossroad and run into the winner and the quitter in you, listen to the winner. The quitter will never take you down the road you want to travel. I believe we all have a winner in us. There is a winner inside of you. Sometimes we just have been around negativity for way too long, developed the mindset of a winner. The truth is, most people give up on their dream. Most people give up on their dream to live the average lifestyle. But it really doesn't matter what most people do. What do you do? Because you are different. You will never give up on your dream. You will never not listen to the average. You will always listen to the winner in you. You will believe in yourself when no one else does. You will believe in yourself when you have no reason to believe, and you will never, ever quit. I know some of you are going through a rough time right now. Some of you are going through the fight of your life, fighting for your future, fighting for your career, fighting for your family. Some of you are fighting for your life. And I'm telling you, don't quit. Do not give in. I know life can be tough. I know life can wear you down. But if you just stick it out, even if you don't get the result, you will find the character you show will be your reward. The fighting spirit you develop will be the reward, and it will serve you well for the rest of your life. Fight for what you want now, or fight against what you don't want later. You choose. Don't you dare quit. Don't you dare settle. Don't you dare get back down. Not today or any other day. When the tough moments come, never forget you are in that moment writing your own legacy. In that tough moment, you are setting the standard for your character. Do you have the character? Well, do you? When you come to a crossroad and run into the winner and the quitter in you, listen to the winner. When you make a commitment to yourself, you make sure you see it through. Never, ever quit. Even if you don't get the result, you will find the character you show will be your reward. Don't you dare quit. Don't you dare ever settle, and don't you dare ever back down. Fight for what you want or fight against what you don't want at a later time. And always know that God is right there with you. Just allow God to guide and direct you, and you will always be a winner.
Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an author, an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today radio show. You can see a video version if you go to YouTube on their channel, Take Your Life Back Today show, or my name, Ralf Friedrichs. Compassion, our first instinct, my friends. Just think about that. Science shows that we are actually wired for compassion, not self-interest. Decades of clinical research has focused and shed light on psychological of human suffering. The suffering, as unpleasant as it is, often also has a bright side to which research has paid less attention. Compassion. Human suffering is often accompanied by beautiful acts of compassion by others wishing to help relieve it. What led to 26.5% of Americans to volunteer in 2012, according to the Labor Department. What propelled someone to serve food at a homeless shelter, pull over on the highway in the rain to help someone with a broken down vehicle, or feed a stray cat is a miracle from God, and it's called compassion. So what is compassion, my friends? A lot of us really probably don't even know the exact meaning. What is compassion, and how is it different from empathy or altruism? The definition of compassion is often confused with that of empathy. Empathy, as defined by researchers, is a visceral or emotional experience of another person's feelings. It is, in a sense, an automatic mirroring of another emotions, like tearing up a friend's sadness. Altruism is an action that benefits someone else. It may or may not accompanied by empathy or compassion. For an example, in the case of making a donation for tax purposes. Although these terms are related to compassion, they are not identical. Compassion often does, of course, involve empathetic response and altruist behavior. However, compassion is defined as an emotional response when perceiving suffering and involves an authentic desire to help. Is compassion natural or learned? Though economists have long argued that contrary. A growing body of evidence suggests that at our core, both animals and human beings have what Dasha Keltner at the University of California, Berkeley coins a compassionate instinct. In other words, compassion is a natural and automatic response that has ensured our survival. Research by Jean Diatri at the University of Chicago showed that even rats have driven to empathize with another suffering rat and to go out of their way to help out of its quandary. Studies with chimpanzees and human infants too young to have learned the rules of politeness also back up these claims. Michael Tomasello and other scientists at the Max Planck Institute in Germany have found that infants and chimpanzees spontaneously engage in helpful behavior and will even overcome obstacles to do so. They apparently do so from intrinsic motivation without expectation of reward. A recent study they ran indicated that infants' pupil diameters, a measure of attention, decrease both when they help and when they see someone else helping, suggesting that they are not simply helping because helping feels rewarding. It appears to be an alleviation of suffering that brings reward, whether or not they engage in helping behavior themselves. Recent research by David Rand, a Harvard University, showed that adults and children's first impulse is to help other people. In fact, my friends, when they are taxed, our first impulse is to help others, suggests research by Francesca Righetti of VU University Amsterdam. Research by Dale Miller at Stanford's Graduate School of Business suggests that it is also the case of adults, however, worrying that others will think that they are acting out of self-interest can stop them from impulse to help other people. It is not surprising, however, that compassion is a natural tendency since it is essential for human survival. As has been brought to light by Keltner, the term survival of the fittest, often attributed to Charles Darwin, was actually coined by Herbert Spencer and social Darwinists who wished to justify class and race superiority. A lesser-known fact is that Darwin's work is best described with the phrase survival of the kindest. Indeed, the descent of man and selection in relation to sex, Darwin argued for the greater strength of the social or paternal instincts than that of any other instinct or motive. In another passage, he comments that community which include the greatest number of the most sympathetic members would flourish best and rear the greatest number of offspring. Compassion may indeed be naturally evolved and adaptive trait. Without it, the survival and flourishing of our species would have been unlikely. One more sign that suggests that compassion is an adaptively evolved trait is that it makes us more attractive to potential mates. A study examining the trait most highly valued in potential romantic partners suggests that both men and women agree that kindness is one of the most highly desirable traits. Compassion's surprising benefits for physical and psychological health. Compassion may have ensured our survival because it is tremendous benefit for both physical and mental health and overall well-being. Research by APS William James Fellow, Ed Diner, a leading researcher in positive psychology, and APS James McKean, Cattell, Fellow Martin Seelig, a pioneer of psychological happiness and human flourishing, suggests that connecting with others in a meaningful way helps us enjoy better mental and physical health and speeds up recovery from disease. Furthermore, research by Stephanie Brown at Stony Brook University and Sarah Cronath at University of Michigan has shown that it may even lengthen our lifespans. The reason a compassionate lifestyle leads to greater psychological well-being may be explained by the fact that the act of giving appears to be a pleasurable, if not more so, as an act of receiving. A brain imaging study headed by neuroscientist Jordan Grafman from the National Institute of Health showed that the pleasure centers in the brain, the parts of the brain that are active when we experience pleasure, like with dessert, money, and sex, are equally active when we observe someone giving money to, let's say, a charity, as when we receive money ourselves. Giving to others even increase well-being above the beyond what we experience when we spend money on ourselves. In a revealing experiment by Elizabeth Dunn at the University of British Columbia, participants receive a sum of money, and half of the participants were instructed to spend the money on themselves. The other half was told to spend the money on other folks. At the end of the study, my friends, which was published in the academic journal Science, the participants who had spent money on others felt significantly happier than those who had spent money on themselves. Friends, this is even true for infants. A study by Lara Arkin and colleagues at the University of British Columbia shows that even children as young as 2, giving treats to others increases the giver's happiness more than receiving treats themselves. Even more surprisingly, the fact that giving makes us happier than receiving is true across the world, regardless of whether countries are rich or poor. A new study by Aiken, now at Simon Fraser University, shows that the amount of money spent on others, rather than for personal benefit and personal well-being, were highly correlated. Regardless of income, social support, perceived freedom, and perceived national corruption, there has been positive signs. Why is compassion good for us? Why does compassion lead us to health benefits particularly? A clue to this question rests in the fascinating new study by Steve Cole at the University of California, Los Angeles, and APS fellow Barbara Fredrickson at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. The results were reported at Stanford Medical School Center for Compassion and Altruism Research and Education's inaugural Science of Compassion conference in 2017. Their study showed the levels of cellular inflammation in the people who describe themselves as very happy. Inflammation is the root of cancer and other diseases that is generally high in people who live under a lot of stress. We might expect that inflammation would be lower for people with higher levels of happiness. Cole and Fredrickson found that this was the only case for certain very happy people. They found that people who were happy because they lived the good life, sometimes also known as hedonic happiness, had high inflammation levels, but that, on the other hand, people who were very happy because they lived a life of purpose and meaning, sometimes also known as eudaimonic happiness, had low inflammation levels. A life of meaning and purpose is one focused less on satisfying oneself and more on others. It is a life which is rich in compassion, altruism, and greater meaning. Another way in which a compassionate lifestyle may improve longevity is that it may serve as a buffer against stress. A new study conducted on a large population, more than 800 people, and spearheaded by University of Buffalo's Michael Poulin, found that stress did not predict mortality in those who helped others, but that it did in those who did not help others. One of the reasons that compassion may protect against stress is the very fact that it is so pleasurable. Motivation, however, seems to play an important role in predicting whether a compassionate lifestyle exerts a beneficial impact on health. Sarah Conrath at the University of Michigan discovered that people who engage in volunteerism lived longer than their non-volunteering peers, but only if their reasons for volunteering were altruistic rather than self-serving. Another reason compassion may boost our well-being is that it can help broaden our perspective beyond ourselves. Research shows that depression and anxiety are linked to a state of self-focus, a preoccupation with me, myself, and I. When you do something for someone else, however, that state of the self-focus shifts to a state of other focus. If you recall a time where you were feeling blue and suddenly a close friend or a relative calls you for urgent help with a problem. You may remember that as your attention shifts to helping them, your mood lifts. Rather than feeling blue, you may have felt energized to help. Before you even knew it, you may even have felt better and gained some perspective on your own situation as well. Friends, finally, one additional way in which compassion may boost our well-being is by increasing a sense of connection to others. One telling study showed that the lack of social connection is a greater detriment to health than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure. On the flip side of this, strong social connection leads us to a 50% increased chance of longevity. Social connection strengthens our immune system. Research by Cole shows that genes impacted by social connection also code for immune function, and inflammation helps us recover from disease faster than and may even lengthen our life. People who feel more connected to others rather than lower rates of anxiety and depression. Moreover, studies show that they are also have a higher self-esteem, are more empathetic to others, more trusting and cooperative, and as consequences, others are more open to trusting and cooperating with them. Social connectedness, therefore, generates a positive feedback loop of social emotion and physical well-being. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true for those who lack social connection. Low social connection has been generally associated with declines in physical and psychological health, as well as high propensity for antisocial behavior that leads to further isolation. Adopting a compassionate lifestyle, cultivating compassion may help boost social connection and improve physical and psychological health. My friends, why compassion really does have the ability to change the world. Why are the lives of people like Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, and Desmond Tutu so inspiring? Because they all showed one thing: compassion. You can show compassion. You can show compassion each and every day with the smallest amount of feelings or the largest. Call me at 844-405-HELP, because you and I, we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves and always be good to each other. And remember, a simple smile to a total stranger can make that stranger forever and can change your life as well. May God bless each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take good care, and God bless you. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.